Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am your host, Smooth Caramel, and I talk about rap. So that's what I'm gonna do. Do y'all remember a time when a particular song snapped you out of a mood or a funk or just some kind of entrenched mind state? Being mid pandemic and mostly quite isolated in the day to day life, just getting through things can really take its toll. Before I even noticed consciously, I could feel my own mood changing with my behaviors and inclinations. I reached a point where I was writing another critique-esque script, and I couldn't focus as much as I usually do. The negativity of trying to analyze all the things that I didn't particularly like or wish were better was kind of weighing me down. With that feeling taking hold, I took a little break, which normally includes music, so I thought I'd start a little discovery session. Took out the laptop, linked the Bluetooth speaker, set my Spotify Discover Weekly to play, and kept my browser open so I could look for some new artists and songs as well. Gotta remember those artists that aren't fully represented in the library. This wasn't long before that transition from day to night. So the room was at that point of being illuminated with that orangey pink hue. And while I'm sat reasonably comfortably on the couch that's behind me, Spotify in one moment just got it right. What a job. A song by Devin the Dude. With the mood ambivalent and my senses quite tuned to my surroundings, the song was able to penetrate my consciousness almost immediately. The beat takes its time to fully form, first opening with repeated singing vocals. These vocals were more just formless singing, or just somewhat verbally indecipherable, which carries a more ambiguous tone to introduce the experience, as well as adding that rawness that you get from more unrefined vocals. Precisely the kind of musical phrasing to grab the attention of me in my ambivalence. The drums, bass line, and then some light guitaring come in to form the overall structure of the instrumental. We then start with Devin's chorus, a concise and grounded depiction of the ups and downs that comes with being a recording artist, before the proclamation of, "Oh, what a job this is." You might be able to see why this was particularly resonant for me in this moment. And this chorus was delivered almost effervescently, to the point of almost even being sung, which kind of highlights the overall feeling of the song, being that even with its ups and downs, this rap game is still something to love. The verses continue with that overall subject matter and tone, but it expands the point of reference to all that struggle and strive within the industry, making that transition from something that's more personal and intimate to something that's more collective and relatable. And in doing this, it sets up the arrival of guests. The flow and deliveries all remain in a somewhat similar and fluid realm, allowing those smooth transitions from verse to chorus, from one rapper to the next, as well as capturing that feeling of shared passion. The chorus being somewhat simple to memorize and sing along to, especially that "what a job this is," cements that sense of accessibility. No real breaks between verse and chorus once Devin begins, with the mid-tempo fluidity of the vocals almost allowing it to mirror that flow of time. With a song of this tone and nature, the addition of two guest rappers really enhances the overall experience. And this is due to the fact the song is anchored in its relatability. The focus is on a more overall and shared concept as opposed to any of the individual rappers, where they would be better supported by a solo or duo type song structure. In that grounded foundation, the variety that does occur through the differing styles and personalities of the featuring artists works to further cement that feeling of inclusivity. This is allowed to happen through the contrasting styles that actually come together in this feeling of mutuality. This is a real strength of rap songs that have a larger roster of artists. I was especially taken aback on the song as the features of Snoop and Andre 3000 aren't actually billed on the song's title, as seems to be the standard convention. As such, there was great reward in the surprise of hearing these loved and recognizable voices. It was almost even uplifting, like a spontaneous visit from a friend. Rap groups and trios can be quite the immense prospect. Why? I guess I'll explore. Now, chemistry is obviously a compelling and important aspect when it comes to this type of a musical endeavor, but I think I've gone into sufficient detail there already, so you'll probably know where I'm coming from. If not, you can check out my rap duo video, which will be somewhere down below. But moving on a very basic level, a larger roster adds to the scale of the songs, which can be used to add more weight, significance, or drama, subsequently adding to that anticipation. This usually justifies the longer duration of songs when there's more than a few artists contributing. It also expands the reach of the depiction, which creates that breadth of relatability through the number of performances that are on show. And these differing personalities that come together to align with this shared issue or topic is well demonstrated in What a Job. This can also be achieved with dedicated groups, and like with rap duos, there is no shortage. Again, even if we're just talking about the more well-known groups, we've got Wu-Tang Clan, Def Squad, NWA, Brockhampton, De La Soul, The Roots, D12. Feel free to drop any favorites I've missed in the comments. And that doesn't even consider the more affiliate-like group dynamics. These usually encompass more artists that have smaller or solo works, but then have a shared roster of performers that come together often or have a shared message or some kind of friendship or relationship. Some examples of these would be Dungeon Family, Bloodline, Flip Mode, and so on. The unifying dynamic of a group creates a feature where songs don't just have one kind of style, where it's just the individual chemistry between two people, or obviously just one rapper. It becomes more like a wider force or entity as a wider combination of different components. This can mean it's much less likely to fall victims of a weak link dynamic, as individuals don't reach a point of salience to become a noticeable problem to whoever's listening. Dislike members who are present can be easily ignored, which is why most of us can usually name our favorites from a group and not everybody. I'm a guy that loves hip hop, especially old school, and I can't remember every single member of Wu-Tang by name off the top of my head. You just enjoy what you enjoy and miss what you don't. Producers can also stand out more as the architects of this overall unifying sound. An expansive roster means a more variable style, which can prove useful if shit happens. And we know it does. And the lineup changes over time. Greater numbers and the variety it offers also makes it easier for the listener to imagine or even consider themselves a part of the group in some kind of unofficial or honorary way. It could feel more like an open community, in addition to a group of performers, which adds an extra layer of interaction and appreciation as a consumer. This can be more difficult to attain when you've got a more closed entity like a solo artist or a duo. As I've stated in other videos, as humans, we very much like to be a part of something instinctually, and that instinct is very much a foundation to this appeal. It reminds me of the difference between something like cable TV and Twitter and YouTube. TV alone now is far less pervasive in entertainment, particularly without social media to extend its reach. Something like YouTube or Twitter creates a more open scenario, where you can interact more directly with the entertainers whose work you enjoy, even if it is that one-sided parasocial interaction. It's a far more rewarding interaction to have someone on YouTube that you enjoy watching like a comment or a tweet. Not even any words, just they clicked a heart. But you get that reward from the acknowledgement you feel seen. If you compare that to when you see an artist that you enjoy on a cable TV show, even though it's a more social and human interaction, it's a lot more closed an environment. You don't get that personal interaction, and it creates a sense of exclusivity, a barrier between you and those whose work you appreciate. And I think it's that open dynamic that really is the greatest strength of rap groups. Alright, I'll leave it there for that analysis. Let's move on to the more obscure. Now, the first song is going to be a song that is actually by a rap duo, but features two more rappers, so has that larger roster that creates this dynamic. And it's called The Oath by Capone and Noriega. This actually highlights my point about having a breadth of relatability through the differing personalities to quite a degree, because each rapper has essentially a different section with a different opening in language to introduce them, allowing their cultural heritages to shine through. But also, it is quite a banger. Second choice, one of those songs that's on the producer's album, and he showcases his skill through the roster of rappers that he brings together. And this is going to be where it started at, parentheses, NY by High Tech. Tonally, this is very similar to What a Job in that it depicts the struggles, the ups and the downs, but kind of grounding yourself in the reality that you could love it all, essentially. And the last one will be The Streets by the Cunning Linguists, which is just a straight up great song with the production and the rapping just all so solid. You got that gangster edge to it, but also a bit of funk to the way that the production works, and each rapper contributes well in their individual capacity, but also coming together very nicely. All right, back to business. The world turns. This has been a Smooth Caramel production. Peace. Now, now, now,